Lindsey Munday, the head coach of USC women's lacrosse, joins us now. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown. Coach, it's been a minute. I always forget. Now, I think technically Hung Ping is the longest tenured head coach here at USC. And then I think it's you and Andy Enfield are like neck and neck. Did you get here before or after Coach Enfield?
I got here before Coach Enfield.
But you got here and then didn't coach for a little while, right? I feel like we got you here and then you built this thing from the ground.
Yeah, so it was about a year and a half where I was hired in January of 2011, and our first season was the spring of 2013.
Well, here you are. You sit in first place in the Pac-12. How is the season going?
It's been great. Sunday was just one of those special days where it was senior day. And, we have a new stadium coming in McAllister Field. So really it was history for everybody. And, for lacrosse being the last game on McAllister Field for everybody. So we certainly wanted to, in the history books, have a win next to that one.
Coach, talk about a special day. Talk about this team. What has this team done this year that's made it a special group?
Yeah, honestly, it reminds me of kind of the first few years of starting this program. It's just one of those teams that kind of gels together perfectly, and the culture is it's so fun to be a part of. And I think as a coach, sometimes, even with great cultures, it can be, the team over on one side and the coaches on the other. And they really include us, and we're just as much of a part of it as they are. They're inviting us in the locker room to dance pregame, and we're just having a lot of fun. And I think when you are, connected and have fun, you play your best too. So
when I enrolled at SC was the spring of 13. I remember the program was just getting going. When you look back a decade later, what are you most proud of the program you've built so far?
Yeah, I think, as a coach, all you want is to provide your student athletes with great experiences. And I think, the reason I chose to come to SC is because you can do that here. You are at an incredible university, academically, athletically, you're competing and playing, and learning from the best of the best. But, looking back, I'm just proud of, all the players that have come through, and hopefully they can look back on their experience and just know they had such a great time, and that they're Trojans for life.
You're listening to head coach Lindsey Munday of women's lacrosse on Trojans Live, and it's been interesting. It's been so interesting to watch a sport, from its infancy, and not only has this program changed, but lacrosse in this area has changed, and so it didn't take you very long to sort of dominate the West. What was the hard part in those days was trying to compete with those teams in the East. It seems like the West has gotten a lot better in recent years. How has lacrosse changed, particularly in this conference and in this region, to where you're not the only team out here?
Yeah, I think just the thing that kind of, keeps blowing my mind is just the young, lacrosse players that there are now around. I think when we first started the program, we were trying to just get people to come to the games. And now, on Sunday, you have, all types of fans, obviously our families, but you have young lacrosse players and teams that now look up, to our players, which is just a really cool transition to see, after a decade of being around here. But certainly the West Coast lacrosse-wise really has continued to, grow and get better and compete. I think we still have challenges being, on the West Coast and it being an East Coast-dominated sport. But, we're fighting in the West, and people are starting to look, a little differently at the Pac-12.
Coach, shine some light on some of your players you're proud of. Obviously, with a good team, you're going to have some standout players. Who are some of the studs on your squad that you're proud of? You like to give them a little name drop, maybe?
Oh man, everybody. No, I think defensively, we've I think had just such a solid defense for a number of years, but this year, I think they all deserve a little more love than they're getting just nationally. Even Sunday they held Stanford to their lowest output, all season. And so I think just collectively that group really takes a lot of pride in what they do. You have Danielle Carson, who's a captain for us, who's been around, for a number of years. Olivia Dooley, who's back there, and, our 4 actual seniors. So Olivia Dooley, Danielle Carson, Sloan, Murphy, and Ella Heaney are all coming back for a 5th year. So the 4 of them all choosing to do that together, I think just speaks to that culture, that leadership, and them wanting, to continue that legacy at SC.
I'd be fascinated to know how recruiting in your schedule plays out, and where I'm going with that is it feels like when we talk basketball or football, so much of it's a recruit your backyard and the schools that are within an hour drive. For you, a lot of your roster is from the Northeast. That at first thought seems exhausting, having to mend those relationships coast to coast, and I'm sure you're flying out there a bunch. How do you handle that? What's that process like for you and your staff?
Yeah, to your point, it is a lot on the East Coast. I'm from New Jersey originally. We have a lot of that East Coast love on the team. So we do a lot of travel. You know, we go traditionally once in the fall, twice in the spring to play with the team. So, you know, when we talk transition to the Big Ten and a lot of coaches, you know, wondering about travel and all of this stuff, it's, you know, sort of what we're used to and in our wheelhouse. So we're excited about that. And, you know, it's definitely, we're racking up the miles, definitely. But, you know, it's fun and to be able to travel all over and to really, I think it also speaks to how close our team is because we do have so many people that are not from Southern California. So it really is a family atmosphere where people aren't going home on the weekends. People, you know, don't get a chance to see their families maybe as much as everybody else. So it really is that tight-knit group because they know they're all kind of supporting one another.
Yeah, I was interested in your perspective on the Big Ten move. We still have some time, so it's not necessarily an imminent question, but you went to Northwestern very famously, Big Ten school, Big Ten power in this particular sport. What does it mean for this program to be in the Big Ten? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we're so excited. We've even heard recruiting wise, you know, the current class that we just recruited, you know, that it's a really big plus. I think, you know, the challenge of the West Coast is just the strength of schedule, the RPI, you know, that you continually kind of, you know, hear about come playoffs and selections and things like that. So for us to, you know, join a Big Ten conference that's just incredibly talented, incredibly strong will help us alone. But for us and our families and our players to continue to get back to the East Coast, to get, you know, more visibility there for recruiting and players to continue for us to be on the Big Ten network and people to see it on the East Coast. You know, I think that's a struggle sometimes with the Pac-12 network and not seeing games. So for us, we're really excited. It's going to, you know, help us tremendously. And we're excited to join a great lacrosse conference.
All right, well, that's still has some time before we get there. In the meantime, the Trojans are looking to win the Pac-12, and they have 3 straight road games to end the season. But right now they sit in first place in a winning position in the conference, then on to postseason play. So thank you to Coach